Welcome to the Accountancy Learning AAT Sample Paper Debriefs. In this video, I'll take you through the Level 3 Tax Processes for Business Sample Paper 1 Task 5, based on Finance Act 25. So our first question is we need to complete the following statement. A business is partially exempt if it makes a mixture of, and we've got four options. Now, for a business to be partially exempt, it means that it does need to have some exempt supplies and some taxable supplies. So therefore, we would go for the answer, second one there. A VAT-registered business sold a car on which the input tax was blocked at the time of purchase. Identify whether the following statements about the sale of the car are true or false. So we've got two statements. No output tax is charged as the sale of the car is exempt. So that's true. We wouldn't be charging output tax because it is exempt. And no output tax charge is on the sale of any vehicle. So that's false because there will be in some circumstances where output tax is charged when a vehicle is sold. A profitable business is VAT registered. It supplies one product and recovers input tax on business transactions. Every VAT period, it receives a VAT refund from HMRC. Identify the type of supply that the business makes. So the key thing here is that every VAT period, it has a VAT refund. So in order to do that, it means that we are claiming back on the purchases that we're making as a business, but we're not charging or we're not getting any VAT from our customers. And the only way that would happen is if we have 0 rated supplies. So we have to be charging VAT, but that VAT is at 0%, which means we wouldn't owe HMRC any money, and therefore when we recover the input tax on our transactions that we purchase, then it means we get a refund each VAT period. For each of the 3 VAT registered businesses below, we need to identify whether input tax can be recovered, blocked or partly blocked, and identify the amount of input tax which can be claimed for each transaction. We've got to enter figures to the nearest penny, so 2 decimal places, and if we think the answer is 0, then we must enter 0.00. So the first one, Eli is a sole trader who works as a taxi driver, purchased a car for 30,000 including VAT at the standard rate, so that's a VAT inclusive cost, and the car is used for business purposes only. So we'll bring up reference material 11, and that will help us a little bit with this question. So in terms of cars, it tells us the input tax can only be recovered if it's wholly for business use, so it's not used privately at all. So this one is for business use, so we can recover input tax on that one. And so 30,000 is the VAT inclusive price. So we now need to work out what the VAT is on that. So divide by 1.2 times by 0.2 if you prefer decimals. Divide by 120 times by 20 or your own preferred method. So that gives us 5,000 that we can recover. So next, a company leases a car for use by its sales director. The leasing cost, including VAT at a standard rate, is £376.80. Now, for cars, it tells us in the reference material that 50% of input tax can be recovered when they are hired or leased. So it's going to be partly blocked, and we can recover 50% of it. So we'll calculate the VAT. Again, this is a VAT inclusive cost. So we do the same calculation, but remember to divide it by 2 because it's only 50%, which gives us £31.40. And then lastly, we've got Dennis is a self-employed builder who uses a commercial vehicle for business. He's incurred £1,504.80, including VAT at standard rate on repairs, and it's been invoiced to his wife. So that's going to be blocked because it's been invoiced to his wife rather than his business. And so because it's blocked, it means that our value is 0. Alfie is a VAT registered sole trader. His car has 75% business use, emissions of 193, and is paid for fuel totaling £720, including VAT at a standard rate for the VAT quarter ending 31st December 25. He reclaims all of the VAT on fuel and accounts for private fuel by using the appropriate fuel scale charge. So now when we're looking at this information, we are going to want the emissions for our fuel scale charge. And that's how we're going to deal with the private fuel. So the 75% is irrelevant now because we're just going to deal with it by using the fuel scale charge. So to bring up the relevant section, this is what you will see in your reference materials. And you've got annual, quarterly and monthly columns along with the emissions. So we always round down the emissions. So we've got 193. So we're going to be using the 190. And we're on a quarterly basis. So that's the middle column here. So 462 is your VAT inclusive cost. So again, we can work out the VAT on that. So our answer is £77. Then the last part is to complete the following statement. If Alfie had 50% business use of the car, the fuel scale charge would, and it's going to stay the same because just like we ignored the 75% business use up here, it wouldn't matter whether it was 50%, wouldn't matter whether it was 20%, because the private fuel is dealt with using the fuel scale charge. That completes task 3.